Welcome to the 12 Report with Blessings Musugu, and these are the headlines. Now, chaos in the capital. Federal Capital Territory Administration levels 1,000 illegal structures in massive Abuja crackdown as displaced residents cry foul. Democracy under attack, fury on the streets of Kano as INEC halts voter registration. Fears mount over voter disenfranchisement ahead of 2027 polls. And of course, $18 million lifeline deployed. Botswana races to avert medical disaster as hospital shelves go bare and patients cry for help. As usual, we have our reporters stationed in the different parts of the country. Joshua Murai will be joining us from Abuja, Umoru Kirawa from Borno State, Sagir Ibrahim from Abuja as well, and of course, Chizoba Anyowe live in Benue. We've got the details in a moment. And now to the stories. Let's start off with security matters. The maiden edition of the African Chiefs of Defense Staff Summit has officially opened in Abuja, bringing together top military leaders from across the continent. The high-level meeting hosted by Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, says he seeks to foster greater collaboration in tackling emergency security threats facing Africa. Over the next 3 days, participants will focus on intelligence sharing, joint training, and developing harmonized military strategies to respond to shared challenges. Right now we have News Central Sagir Ibrahim, who's currently at the summit and will be giving us the update. Sagir Ibrahim, what's going on at the summit as we speak? All right, unfortunately, Sagir, we would have to come back to you on that. First off, let's take a look at the package. Of course, this summit started off yesterday, and Sagir Ibrahim, who is also in Abuja, was able to put together a package to explain better what the summit is about. Let's take a look.
It is the maiden edition of the African Chiefs of Defense Staff Summit 2025. Seated across this hall are defense chiefs and representatives from all 54 African countries, alongside security experts and other stakeholders gathered together to develop strategies and frameworks to address Africa's security challenges. Chief host of the event and Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, says that a key focus of the summit agenda is improving collaboration and intelligence sharing among African militaries to tackle long-standing security threats confronting the continent.
Distinguished colleagues, the battlefield is evolving. The threats of today are no longer confined to conventional warfare. They are digital, asymmetric, and often invisible. The enemy is within.
Centered on the theme, combating contemporary threats to regional peace and security in Africa, the role of strategic defense collaboration, Nigeria's president, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, while declaring the event open, called for Africa's defense apparatus to speak with one voice in addressing the continent's unique security challenges.
Security is the foundation upon which the edifice of progress must stand. That is why we must use this summit not merely as a meeting, but as a covenant to deepen cooperation through joint training, harmonized doctrines, and interoperable systems. For this to endure, we must build a framework where our defense institutions speak with one voice and act with one purpose.
Others re-echoed the call for collaboration, investment, and knowledge sharing, especially in tackling cross-border crimes.
African crises demand African leadership backed by global financial support for African solutions to succeed. Terrorists are not born. They are our children. They are the young people who have gone astray, badly astray. And it is our duty to bring them back out from the pole into building their nations and not destroying them.
Africa's security must be driven by African solutions, African leadership, and African unity. We remain committed to strengthening our defense partnership, both bilateral and multilateral, to support peace, development, and the democratic values.
Like the president said, security is the foundation upon which progress must stand. It is against this backdrop that Africa's top military brass are going to be convened under one roof for the next 3 days to develop frameworks and strategies to address Africa's long-standing security challenges. From the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
On the Africa Chiefs of Defense Staff Summit, that was Sagir Ibrahim with the report. We'll come back to Sagir to give us live updates at the summit. But in the meantime, all is now set for the newly elected Speaker of the Benue State House of Assembly to preside over his maiden plenary session in the chambers. This follows his unanimous election just 48 hours ago after the resignation of former Speaker Aundoa Doha on Sunday. News Central's Chizoba Anyewe, who is monitoring the development, joins us live to give us the details. Chizoba, 48 hours after, what are we to expect?
Thanks for having me, Blessing. Right now, you can see behind me, it's a closed-door session going on now, or rather, I beg your pardon, the plenary has already begun, where the new Speaker of the House of Assembly in Benue State here has already gone into the hallowed chambers to begin sitting. And this is his maiden plenary session in the House of Assembly following the resignation of his predecessor who resigned on Sunday. And according to him, he said it is based on personal reasons, while some others out there, are thinking that there's some form of chaos in the House, there's some sort of fight I say in the House that have pushed him to resign, but he has said he did that in the interest of the Assembly and that of the state at large. So, earlier when I came in, I saw some police trucks and vans at the entrance of the Assembly complex. But speaking with some of the members of the House of Assembly, they said that's the normal way. They always have security on the ground to be sure of their safety while they do their normal sittings for development in the state. And so they're all expecting that the new speaker will bring everybody together for unity. There are a whole lot of challenges in the state, security being number one on their list. And so they think and believe that the new speaker will bring everybody together to be able to bring, measures that will be able to put all these challenges to a halt. So expectations are high, and then when this plenary ends, we'll be able to meet the new speaker. We hope we'll be able to meet him to speak one-on-one with him, his expectation, and what he has on the table, so that his assembly, so to speak, from now onwards, will be that of what the people are expecting to see.
Chizoba, before we let you go back to continue your coverage, there are two parties involved in this, the members of the parliament, and let's not forget the reason, the people who are actually being governed, and that's the people of Benue State. How are they reacting to this?
Okay, so I was having a discussion with somebody just before this session. Everybody out here are thinking that, there's big chaos in the House. Why would a speaker of that magnitude want to resign his appointment or a position, for no just cause? Because he didn't state any reason for resigning. He just said it's for personal reasons and, of course, for the interest of the House of Assembly and the state at large. So, people have their diverse opinions. Some members I spoke to earlier are saying there's no fight, there's no chaos, and so there's no cause for alarm, out there. All they are hoping to see is a change that will be beneficial to the people of Benue State, a change that will move the government forward. And they're not planning to, fight anybody. They're going to work hand in hand with the new speaker and, of course, the state governor to ensure that his aims, which will benefit the people of Benue State, are brought on the front burner.
Chizoba Anyewe there on the newly elected Speaker of the Benue State Assembly. We'll go back now to Sagir Ibrahim, who has been covering the Africa Chiefs of Defense Staff Summit in the FCT. Sagir, what is the update? This is day 2, I presume. What's happening there at the summit?
Oh, good afternoon. Yesterday was day one of the maiden edition of the African Chief of Defense Staff Summit holding here at the International Conference Center, the Bola Tinubu International Conference Center, Abuja, where African Chief of Defense Staff from the 54 African countries have converged here to chart a course forward towards addressing the myriad of security challenges bedeviling the continent. He yesterday gave an opportunity for keynote addresses, for remarks, opening remarks, and it was declared open by the president, who was the vice president of the country. Again, they had an opportunity to commence their plenary session, starting with the first one, which focuses on border management and regional security in Africa, challenges and prospects. Sadly, the media was not allowed into these plenary conferences. The second has commenced in earnest today. However, the event started first with a tour of the Nigerian Army Museum, by the Chief of Defense Staff entourage, which led this African Chief of Defense Staff to the Nigerian Army Museum to show them monuments, artifacts, and the likes of that. The second has commenced in earnest at the moment. Like I mentioned, unfortunately, we're not allowed access into the premises for that plenary session. However, we intend to speak with some of these African defense chiefs after the plenary session to get their take on how these arrangements and, of course, how this collaborative event is going on. We tried speaking with some of them yesterday, but sadly, they said they couldn't speak because they do not have a full assessment of what the situation is at the moment. But however, since they've gone on with the first, and hopefully after the second, they would be able to give us their submissions on what the situation is, and therefore we'll be bringing much more updates. But for now, the situation is the plenary session is on, and we're hoping that after then, they'll give us more details as to what the situation really is.
Sagir Ibrahim at the FCT on the Africa Chiefs of Defense Staff Summit, and just like he said, News Central will be feeding you with more updates as the event unfolds. Now let's talk about education. Members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities at the University of Maiduguri are in a closed-door meeting, and journalists alongside other stakeholders are waiting anxiously to hear the outcome. Top on the agenda are unresolved issues with the federal government, including the lingering 2009 agreement. The controversial IPPIS payroll platform is also a matter of discourse and calls for the return of GIF-MIS as a preferred option for university financial management. Our correspondent, Umoru Kirawa, reports that while details of the talks remain undisclosed, expectations are high that ASU may emerge with firm demands capable of influencing national education policy. My colleague Umoru Kirawa is currently at the University of Maiduguri and he's following the story very keenly. Kirawa, what's happening?
The ASU members and its leadership here at the University of Maiduguri have joined the nationwide peaceful protest, and they have went through the university showing placards, identifying their demands to the world, to the government to act. But here with me, I have the head of department of the mass communication department, Dr. Abdul Muttalib Ado, who will tell us more with regard to what they are looking for. So, thank you, listeners all over the world. We are not fighting the government. And what we are looking for a well-paid, so we can be able to do researches, we can be able to do community service, we can be able to impact knowledge. There's no country in the world that actually develops without prepared education. And we've been challenged to produce what is required. Unfortunately, the government has failed to do what it's supposed to for the last 16 years. We know there are financial challenges. But what we are looking for government, there was an agreement between this union and, of course, with the late, with Babalaki, there was an agreement between this union and Professor Muntale Jibril. There was also the same argument and agreed between the union and the representative of the government with the Professor Muntale Jibril and late Nimi Briggs. And recently, the government also constituted a committee and empowered former governor of Karsana State, former House of Representatives, the House of Representatives, who is now the chairman of the Church Fund, Yahya Ahmed. So Yahya Ahmed, actually, who will lead this committee from the federal government and that of ASU, We met with them, we agreed on the document before the government. Unfortunately, the government has failed to look at this document to take a decisive decision. What we are saying, let the government look at that document. If there is any point or any part of that document that it feels that this one is not convenient for them, let us be known about that. But the government has actually looked the other way around and now produced what they call the loan. We are not looking for a loan. What we are looking for is a well-paid so that we can be able to feed our families, we can be able to train the required people that we need in this country and for us in the world. But the government is actually looking the other way around. It's 2 years now this government is in power, but they have not done what we expect them to do. We agree that it has done a few part of it. For example, they have paid just maybe 3 months of our salary. But we're still owing the government. It has not been paid. They have not paid that. We also require the government to look at this document so that we can be able to address issues that we are raising. There are so many issues, for example, the issues of pay. This one was reviewed in 2009, 16 years, but the government has failed to do what it's supposed to do. So now we are mounting pressure on the government to do what is needed. We are not saying that we want to go for a strike, but the strike is our last option. There are so many ways. We have written letters to them, but they're not doing anything. So we are urging the government, the Minister of Education, the Minister of Labour, the federal government, the ATF. In fact, we are even calling the Chief of Staff of the President, the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, what do you call him? I forgot his name, but he's the one who actually intervened to ensure that we called the last strike. But he has not. All
right, Umaru, if you can hear
me. So we are calling for him to.
If you can hear me, Umaru, I apologize. While you prepare to speak to other people on this issue, we also have Joshua Murayo on standby in Abuja, in the University of Abuja, where he would also be giving us an update on this same meeting, where there's a convergence to discuss the 2009 agreement and, of course, the issue with the IPPIS payroll system. But in the meantime, it's still the 12 reports. We have to go on a break. When we come back, we've got more stories. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us on the 12 reports. Now, before we went on a break, we had told you initially that the members of the Academic Staff Union of the University have staged a peaceful protest in the University of Maiduguri, and we had my colleague, our correspondent, Umaru Kirawa, give us an update on that. Some of their demands are a resolution to the 2009 agreement and, of course, a review of the IPPIS system. We also have Joshua Murai, another colleague of mine who is currently in Abuja, to give us an update on the same issue. He's currently at the University of Abuja. Joshua Murai, what's going on? We've spoken with Umaru Kirawa, and he's told us what's happening on his end in Maiduguri. What's happening in Abuja?
Blessings. It is a developing situation here in the University of Abuja, but I am currently live at the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine in the University of Abuja, and behind me is a building where lecturers under the Union of the Academic Staff Union of Nigeria are currently holding their meeting. Any moment from now, we are expecting them to proceed from the hall for a full-blown demonstration. But earlier, I was on a phone call with the chairman of the ASU of this university, who told me that after the Congress, they'll be emerging in a full-scale demonstration to press on their demand. So we are still waiting for them to proceed from the Congress and maybe go into the demonstration full-scale.
All right, Joshua Murai, you have said that it's developing at the University of Abuja, so I'm sure that we still have you on standby to give us more updates as the development continues. In the meantime, the Jigawa state government has declared a state of emergency in education after a report showed most pupils in Primary 1 can't read nor write. Now, Governor Umar Namadi says the move is part of sweeping reforms to fix the system. The state has split the education ministry into two, basic and higher education, and recruited more than 10,000 teachers, including new hires and confirmed temporary staff. Other measures include training teachers, monitoring schools through local communities, and bringing the Almajiri system into mainstream education. Jigawa is also partnering with UK-based consultancy New Globe to improve literacy and numeracy, while upgrading schools to strengthen vocational training. Now we move to the developments from the National Executive Committee meeting of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, which held in Abuja on Monday. In a major political movement, the party has zoned its 2027 presidential ticket to the south, while confirming Ambassador Ilia Umar Damagum from the north as a substantive national chairman. These decisions were among several far-reaching resolutions reached during the 102nd next session, as the party seeks to strengthen internal balance and reposition itself ahead of the next general elections. Ambassador Damagum, who had been serving in an acting capacity since 2023, will continue in the role until the National Elective Convention scheduled for November 15th and 16th in Ibadan, Oyo State. According to a communique issued by the National Publicity Secretary, Debo Olugwagba, the NEC also unanimously approved the report of its zoning committee, retaining all national offices in their current regional locations. The party also called on its members to embrace reconciliation, put past challenges behind, and work towards unity within the party.
The recent by-election revealed a familiar pattern of intimidation, harassment, and attempts to subvert the will of the people from the ruling party. Yet, despite this, the PDP prevailed, leaving a constituency previously held by the ruling party. This victory is not just symbolic, it is proof of our resilience and a forestep of what will happen in 2027.
Unity is not a mere slogan. Rather, it is the lifeblood of any political organization. Without unity, progress is stunted. We must relax or regulate certain party laws to accommodate genuine interests and reintegrate those who truly desire to return. No political family thrives on endless exclusion. If we are to stand strong in 2027, we must make room for healing and for fresh beginnings.
Let's talk politics. Prospective voters in Abia State are taking part in the ongoing continuous voters registration exercise. The exercise, which commenced on Tuesday, is taking place across all local government INEC offices in the state. At the Umuahia North office and the INEC headquarters, residents were seen registering for the first time, transferring their details or replacing lost voter cards.
I'm feeling so bored, and if I see my mates voting, I'll feel like let me join them. But now I'm able to go and vote. So next upper year or 2027, I can able to vote. That is why I came here.
I want to go and transfer my voter's card. I was in Lagos, so that's where I registered. So when I came back, they said they will transfer my yes.
My colleague Chinwe Ogele is at the registration point, and she'll tell us more. Chinwe, what is the turnout like, concerning voter registration? Chinwe Ogele, I think we'll have to try again with your audio while we try to come back to that. Meanwhile, there was frustration in Kano State. Still speaking on voter registration, eligible voters were turned away from registration centers following a technical glitch that forced suspension of the continuous voter registration exercise in that part of the country. And this comes despite earlier assurances from the resident electoral commissioner, Abdul Zango, that the process will be smooth and hitch-free. The failure of the electronic registration machines left many would-be voters disappointed and uncertain about when the exercise will resume. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports on this.
This phase of the registration exercise is targeting three major categories of Nigerians: new voters who have just turned 18 years old, eligible voters who are yet to collect or wish to transfer their permanent voter cards, and those seeking to replace lost or damaged PVCs.
The time is now for Nigerians to come out and register. I shouldn't wait till the last minute which unfortunately seems to be the character.
I came for my PVC because my first time, and when I came here, I went inside and the process was no stress. So it was very, very cool.
So I come, I do my card, so I got bought the one where I like. The very first day they announced it, I think that was the day I booked online on it. And I think the process was so easy, and whatever thing they asked, I fill in and it worked very well.
Unlike previous exercises that were marred by technical hitches and delays, residents say this rollout is largely seamless with no major glitches. Despite the smooth operations, turnout has been described as low. INEC, however, remains hopeful that eligible Nigerians will take advantage of the window in the coming days and weeks.
They have been able to surmount some critical challenges. That is the way I've seen it. And they have been able to cope or manage the multitude of people that came for the exercise.
In FCT, the exercise will be suspended somewhere around October or early November, within 90 days to the FCT elections coming up in February 2021.
INEC is also using this opportunity to warn against multiple registration, which remains an electoral offense, while encouraging more citizens to register properly. With the 2027 general elections drawing closer, the exercise is critical in ensuring that every eligible Nigerian is given the opportunity to participate in shaping the country's democratic future. In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
The Federal Capital Territory Administration Task Force, codenamed Operation Sweep, says that it has demolished over 1,000 shanties and illegally built structures at the Karsana District of Abuja. The task force, led by the director of the FCT Department of Development Control, Mukhtar Galadima, says the operation is in line with the mandate of the administration to rid the FCT of flashpoints used by criminal elements as a launching zone to commit crime in the FCT. Also, the FCTA Director of Security Services, Adamu Gwari, who was represented by the Secretary of the Department's Command and Control Center, Peter Olumuji, added that the shanties have been a great source of concern to residents, thus the need to ensure that they are totally dislodged.
Man Global Estate Axis, which has other estates here, have been a great source of concern for those residing within the estate. And you will know that there's a very tight nexus between development control and security of lives and property. And what we have seen here is that we notice, because we have indigenous community here, these criminal elements try to build shanties behind those indigenous communities to serve as a cover to their own shanties. And most of the issues that have occurred within this axis emanate from this particular axis. And what we have done today, most of the residents that have passed through this place today have really praised the good efforts of the FCT administration.
When you look at these structures, they are mostly made of shacks, temporary materials. So far so good. I believe we have cleared more than 1,000 around this place. And we are about to continue because the work is enormous and the stretch of the road is as long as 2 kilometers, all consisting of shacks and shanties.
You're still live with us on the 12 Report. We go on a short break now. When we come back, we've got more stories. Do stay with us. To Edo State now, where the government is intensifying its war on cultism and violent gangs. Shrines have been sealed, suspected leaders declared wanted, and properties linked to confraternities taking over. We have more details in the next report.
A quiet raid in Egbai, Ego local government area of Edo State led to the discovery of a hidden shrine. Inside, a white casket and fetish items believed to fuel cultist initiation rituals. The building, linked to a suspected cult leader, was sealed immediately by Operation Flush Out Cultists and Kidnappers, a special task force working with security agencies.
We were first at Ego community, where we went to one member of the Black Hat group, who forcefully went to initiate someone. Police had their investigation. He transferred money to the account, and getting there, we saw the shrine where he perpetuates his evil art. And at the end of the day, his house was sealed too. This is a general warning to the public, like we've initially said, that please, the state governor, he would not tolerate any form of cultism in Edo State.
But the crackdown did not stop there. In Ewoyae, Umuode local government, a bloody clash between rival groups, Eye and Mafite, left one person dead. Homes and vehicles bore scars of the violence. Security forces recovered locally made guns and sealed the residence of alleged Mafite leader Felix Aigbudion, now declared wanted.
I use this medium to advise every meaningful citizen of Edo State to please, like as I've advised initially, you see something, say something. Help the government to help you. Let's make Edo a better place for us all.
The state insists this is only the beginning of its offensive, as investigators probe extortion and initiation practices linked to cult groups.
In a bold step toward deeper continental integration, a new campaign is gaining momentum across Africa. The Trans-African Tourism and Unity Initiative has launched an ambitious movement calling for a visa-free Africa for Africans, a push aimed at removing travel barriers and unlocking the full potential of tourism, trade, and unity across the continent. News Central's Bettina Nweli reports.
Of a visa-free Africa represents a transformative vision for the continent, one that promotes unity, boosts economic integration, and strengthens Pan-African identity. By removing visa barriers for intra-African travel, countries could unlock immense opportunities for trade, tourism, labor mobility, and cultural exchange.
Yet, for millions of Africans, exploring their own continent poses a bureaucratic and costly challenge.
There's 8 of us embarking on this campaign, $11,800 in visa fees alone. You can imagine what that money would do if it were to be spent, on the road to buy fuel or food or even souvenirs, to share with our journalist friends. If these were non-existent, if we were to reduce the, barriers to the movement of our people, I have absolutely no doubt that it would increase the GDP of our respective countries.
This initiative, which aims to promote a visa-free travel experience across Africa, also intends to foster regional integration, economic growth, and cultural exchange. After visiting Togo, Benin, and Nigeria, the team has now moved on to Cameroon as part of their 40,000-kilometer journey across 39 African countries.
When we went to Benin, they were quite excited, and they forcefully said that, look, they are doing it, and they are willing, to urge other excellencies within Africa to embrace it. And as you know, Nigerians haven't flooded Benin. Nigerians haven't overrun Benin, because the fear is that if there are open borders, we're going to have mass migration, etc. Nigerians haven't, the big brother of West Africa has not flooded Ghana.
According to experts, a borderless Africa could increase intra-African tourism by more than 50%, spurring economic growth in sectors from hospitality to transport. With this new campaign, the message is clear. It's time to remove the borders that divide citizens and embrace the unity that defines all Africans. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina Nweli.
Away from Abuja, we did tell you that the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, says it is mobilizing members nationwide for a rally scheduled for Tuesday, the 26th of August 2025. We have my colleague, our correspondent, News Central's Omolala Ladi, who's currently in the University of Lagos, and she's getting the views of the people regarding the pending strike, and they have made it clear that this is the first move towards the government's inaction, and they fear what lies ahead. Omolala, what is the response of the people regarding this pending strike? I see that Omolala is still trying to set up. We'll give her a bit of time. We will go back to Chinwe now on the voters' registration in anticipation for the 2027 elections. Chinwe, how is the registration going? What's the turnout?
Maybe because it's just the early days of the registration exercise, because it's expected that more people will turn out. But then more concerning is the fact that young people who recently turned 18 and of voting age are not too keen, to participate in the exercise, because in the voting centers, in the registration centers we visited this morning, we noticed that there were more of older people who wanted to replace their cards or wanted to transfer their cards to their new locations. There are just very few, about 2 or 3 young registrants in those centers.
So we understand that in some parts of Kano State, for example, I mean, there is a fear that voters are being disenfranchised. Has there been any hint about that, in terms of maybe not enough materials or the equipment are not ready, or is everything going smooth so far?
So far, we've not witnessed any hitch, but one of the registrants we interviewed did complain about the distances, to the registration areas. This is because the registration is taking place in the local government headquarters across the state. And so if there are people in the rural communities, they will have to travel to some distance, and it will discourage those who are meant to register or replace or transfer their cards. So he was calling for the government to see how they make this easier for the people, either send people to the town halls or market squares, wherever, just to make sure that they capture as more people as possible. Yes.
Chiwe Ogile, thank you for the update on the voter registration in Abia State. The floods are still causing damage across Nigeria. In the country's northeast, flooding has claimed lives of 3 people and affected over 4,000 households in Yobe State alone. The update was given by the Executive Secretary of the Yobe State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Mohammed Goje, during a press briefing in Damaturu. Dr. Goje outlined the impact of the disaster and the state's plans for relief and long-term mitigation. News Central's Moru Kilawa completes the report.
Farms and houses submerged, a natural disaster that left families struggling to recover. With over 4,000 households affected so far in Nigeria's Yobe State, Patiskum and Nangere local government areas are the worst hit.
Gaskiya muna cikin wani kalan society wadda zaka ga an zo ana gini akan hanya da dai sauransu. Layin ruwa drainage da sauransu sai ka ga ana ta zuba yashi da wani shara ana zuwa ana babbannewa.
The Yobe State Emergency Management Agency says it has initiated risk communication in affected areas and detailed preparedness strategies.
Our 2025 preparedness plan is a comprehensive, multidimensional design to anticipate risks, mobilize resources, and strengthen community resilience. The key features include early warning system, implementation of sensitization campaigns, activation of local emergency management committees, and mobilization of 178 community volunteers across 10 high-risk LGS to ensure timely communication, evacuation, and rapid response.
This brought together civil society organizations, humanitarian and development partners, as well as the media.
The total number of households that were affected is 4,521. That's the total number of households, but that includes windstorm, heavy rainfall across all the communities. Sadly, we have recorded 7 deaths, 3 as a result of flooding, 4 as a result of windstorm that occurred early since February up to date. And as I speak to you now, we don't have an IDP, flood IDP camp in Yobe, but we have prepared locations in the event of emergency.
The network of civil society organizations has raised alarm over the unchecked trend of building houses and business structures along water channels.
We're getting it wrong in these 2 directions. One, government's preparation is done behind schedule, and then the communities are adamant to leave waterways.
The stakeholders advocated proactive flood management and the stoppage of construction of houses on waterways to reduce casualties. In Yobe for News Central, Umori Kirawa.
Let's talk business. 45 out of 146 companies listed on the Nigerian exchange have failed to pay dividends for at least 5 years, leaving income-focused investors holding silent stocks. These companies span key sectors such as consumer goods, ICT, and insurance. Surprisingly, some have delivered triple-digit year-to-date gains. SCOA surged 167%, while FTN Cocoa and Ella Lakes also rallied despite ongoing losses. FTN Cocoa posted losses of 10.65 billion naira in 2023 and 9.53 billion naira in 2024. International breweries, after a 113 billion naira loss in 2023, swung to a 29.4 billion naira profit in the first half of 2025. Analysts warned that price rallies without consistent profits or dividends offer little long-term value. Coming up on the news, Australia has expelled Iran's ambassador and 3 other diplomats over alleged links to anti-Semitic attacks. Details after the break. Stay tuned. It's still the 12 report. We head to Southern Africa. The government of Botswana has declared a public health emergency following a severe shortage of essential medicines across the country. The crisis comes as hospitals run dangerously low on supplies, blamed on depleted government funds and significant cuts in U.S. aid. Despite being rich in diamonds, Botswana continues to battle high unemployment and poverty, straining public services. In a televised address, President Duma Boko admitted the medical supply chain has collapsed and announced over $18 million in emergency funding to restock hospitals and clinics. Earlier this month, the health ministry revealed the country owes more than $75 million to private health providers and suppliers, leading to delays in care and the postponement of elective surgeries. Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun has held talks with a visiting U.S. delegation in Beirut. The team included envoys Thomas Barrack and Morgan Ortagus, along with Senators Lindsey Graham and Jen Shaheen. Discussions focused on a U.S.-backed plan for Hezbollah to disarm and for Israel to withdraw from recently occupied areas. Lebanon is awaiting Israel's response, while Washington pressed for diplomacy, and Aoun reaffirmed Lebanon's sovereignty and peace. Australia has expelled Iran's ambassador and 3 other diplomats over alleged links to anti-Semitic attacks in Melbourne and Sydney. Foreign Minister Penny Wong announced the decision, giving the officials 7 days to leave the country. According to Wong, intelligence agencies uncovered credible evidence tying Iranian operatives to coordinated hate crimes targeting Jewish communities. The Australian government condemned the actions as a breach of diplomatic conduct and a threat to national security.
There is no doubt that these extraordinary and dangerous acts of aggression, orchestrated by a foreign nation on Australian soil, have crossed a line. And that is why we have declared Iran's ambassador to Australia persona non grata, as well as 3 other Iranian officials, and they will have 7 days to leave the country. Even before today, the Albanese government had taken stronger action on Iran than any previous Australian government. And we have long known that Iran and its proxies try to destabilise countries in our region and beyond. Iran has sought to undermine the cohesion of our community. They have tried to divide the Australian community, and they've done so with acts of aggression that not only sought to terrify Australians, but put Australian lives in danger. This is the first time in the post-war period that Australia has expelled an ambassador. And we have made this decision because Iran's actions are completely unacceptable.
Forget cookathons, kissathons, or cryathons. Nigeria has caught a fever. Not the kind you treat with paracetamol, but the kind that comes with a stopwatch and a certificate. Now, ever since Chef Hilda Bassi cooked her way into global headlines, a 93-hour, 11-minute cookathon in 2023. Remember, record-breaking in Nigeria has gone from rare to routine. She's now planning a comeback, this time with a largest pot of jollof rice on the 12th of September, using a custom 6x6 meter pot. Then came Tunde Onokoya, who set the record for the longest chess marathon. Samson Ajao read aloud for over 215 hours. And Kanyachuku Tagbo Okeke, a 15-year-old autistic artist, earned the record for the largest artwork on canvas by an individual. But it hasn't all been inspirational. We've had a kissathon banned in Ekiti for moral concerns, a massageathon where the masseuse fainted mid-rub, and a proposed sexathon in Ghana that was shut down before the countdown even began. And of course you know why. Meanwhile, makeup-a-thons and dance-a-thons are becoming weekend routines in Nigeria. Guinness has since clarified, though, Nigerians are not banned, but they must apply and get pre-approval first. Still, with over 1,500 applicants in the past year, West Africa now makes up 8% of global record submissions, up from just 1%. So the question is, what is driving it? Is it purpose, or is it just pure clout? In a country where talent meets tenacity, maybe it doesn't matter, because whether it's for pride, whether it's for passion, or the praise online, one thing is certain: if this trend continues, Nigeria might just earn another record for the most Guinness World Record attempts by any country. Well, that's your postscript. That said, let's take a look at the sporting world. The League Management Committee has ruled that Kanu's Sani Abacha Stadium, home for Kanu Pillars and Barao FC, falls short of Nigeria Premier Football League, the NPFL club licensing standards. We'll quickly hear from Favor Itua. Favor, are you ready for us?
Yes, Blessings. It's once again, Nigeria's stadia have come under scrutiny, especially in Abia State, Umuahia, and of course Kano State, where their stadium are not deemed fit to host league matches in Nigeria. Many more on In the Game.
Well, you heard it. Stay tuned for In the Games for more. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to us right here because we want to see what you see. Also, do also follow us across all socials. We are at News Central TV. And you can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, StarTimes 274, GoTV channel 23, Avo TV, and live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Blessings Masugu.